Hi guys, this is George back here with another video, and welcome to another top 10 countdown, where today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 roller coasters. I've done a few of these top 10 countdown videos over the last few days, but today this is going to be the final one I'm going to be doing for a while, and this is my top 10 roller coasters, worldwide roller coasters that are still in operation. Of course, I've looked at my top 10 defunct coasters that I got to ride, my top 10 defunct coasters I wish I could have ridden, my top 10 UK coasters, top 10 most anticipated coasters opening in 2025, top 10 biggest bucket list coasters, top 10 theme parks, and now I'm going to be counting down my top 10 roller coasters, my 10 favourite roller coasters of all time. So let's get things started off with number 10. Quickly though, before I do start actually, let me know what are your favourite roller coasters in the comments. Of course, maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree with me. Of course, each different theme park enthusiast like different things when it comes to roller coasters. Maybe you're going to agree with some of the coasters on my list, maybe you won't. So let me know, what are your favourite roller coasters? Let me know. So let's go ahead and talk straight about number 10. Coming in at number 10, we have Mako at SeaWorld Orlando, a B&M hypercoaster that's opened in 2016, and this is an absolutely fantastic roller coaster. I've ridden it quite a few times now. I first rode it in 2019 and then I went back in 2023 and got more rides on it. So I've ridden it probably about 10 times now, and it's an absolutely fantastic roller coaster. I love a B&M hypercoaster. I've done a few of these hypers now, and this is one of the best ones in my opinion. So of course you start off by going up that 200-foot lift hill, down a fantastic first drop, and then into lots of different airtime hills and turnarounds as well. So you start off going down that big first drop, then into a really kind of unique turnaround, a really nice turnaround where you can really glide into it. It's silky smooth throughout the entirety of the ride experience. You've got some fantastic restraints on there, just a lap bar holding you in. You get some fantastic airtime on there. It's mostly about the floater airtime, but it's a really enjoyable ride that anyone can really enjoy. It's like, yeah, you might have a fear of heights, but to be honest, it's not as if it's exactly particularly like intense. It's a very relaxing ride in a way, just kind of sitting with this restraint with your arms in the air, just gradually getting lifted up out of your seat. It's a fantastic sensation. Lots of floater airtime on here. I love the hammerhead turn on here as well. That's a really good element. And then of course, as you get to the end of the layout, you go through these swooping turns over the water. It's a fantastic ride. It's got a good length to it, some great elements. It's a really enjoyable roller coaster. Coming in at number 9, we have Flying Aces at Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi, an Intamin wing coaster that opened in 2016, and this is an absolutely fantastic roller coaster. Of course, not loads of people tend to go out to the UAE and go and ride this roller coaster. A lot of people, these parks over in the UAE, they don't get the biggest crowds. However, both of the times I've been there, it's been fairly busy, but not the most busy. It's like you put this roller coaster in the UK and it'd be getting hours and hours worth of queues. But over here, you tend to not really see it above maybe 90 minutes. But yeah, this is an absolutely brilliant roller coaster. So you start off by going up a cable lift hill, really fast as well, one of the fastest lift hills in the world. It feels like a launch going up there, and then you go down an absolutely fantastic twisted first drop into a non-inverting loop, which is pretty intense. You get some great whip there. You've got some fantastic restraints on this ride as well, really nice comfortable lap bars, which means you feel nice and free on there, and it allows for lots of airtime as well. There are loads of different airtime hills on this ride, lots of different swooping turns, like low to the ground turns, and then you go up a massive airtime hill and then to a turnaround, then a really low to the ground airtime hill. You've got a great mix of floater and ejector airtime on this ride, but it's not just about the airtime. You've got the whip as well as you go through some of these S-bends and turns, and then you've also got a fantastic inversion at the end as well, where you get some brilliant hang time. You go through that heartline roll at the end of the ride. Really enjoyable going through there with just the lap bar. Absolutely fantastic roller coaster, nice and smooth. Of course, it's high capacity. If you're on one of the end rows, it is a little bit rougher than on the inside seats. However, it's nothing that takes away from the ride experience. It's absolutely incredible. It's a fantastic roller coaster, and really good at night as well, because they barely light it up, so you're pretty much just going around right in the dark as well. It's a brilliant roller coaster, and hopefully more of these will get built. Coming in at number 8, we have Voltron at Europa Park, a Mack Ride Striker coaster that opened in 2024. And this roller coaster has absolutely everything that you could possibly want from a roller coaster. It has punchy launches, it's got a long layout, it's got inversions, airtime, hang time, it's intense, it's long, it's got fantastic restraints, and it's nice and smooth as well. Of course, I've heard a lot about the roughness of this ride, and I'll talk more about that later. But from my rides at least, I found it very smooth. It's a brilliant ride. So of course you start off by going onto a bounce track. So you go into this indoor section where the track bounces up and down, which is a really unique part of the ride, and then you launch up a beyond vertical launch into an inversion, like an Immelman. It was more like a loop really, but it's a very oddly shaped loop because of where the launch is. And then you go into a zero G roll. It is action packed, this ride. It is literally element after element. Amazing roller coaster. It's intense. There is no like dead spots on the ride. Of course, you've got the halfway point with the turntable. By the time you get there, you feel like you've got a full ride's worth, but you get to that point and it's like, wow, I'm only halfway through this absolutely incredible ride. And then you go through even more elements. You've got a backwards launch on there, a spike, 7 different inversions, 4 launches. It's an absolutely spectacular ride. Of course, a lot of people do say that it's quite rough. I had 5 rides on this roller coaster, and for me, I think I did get quite lucky because all of my rides were silky smooth. I had no issue with the rattle on there at all. I didn't feel a rattle pretty much at all. There were a couple spots where I felt a little bit of a rattle, but it was nothing compared to what I've been hearing. A lot of people have been saying it's really rough. I haven't experienced it. On one of the rougher trains. Apparently some trains are worse than others. I haven't experienced it on one of the rougher trains, so I'm going off of my 5 rides that were nice and smooth. But overall, it's an absolutely incredible ride that I absolutely love. Coming in at number 7, we have Gotham City Escape at Parker Warner Madrid, an Intamin multi-launch coaster that opened in 2023. And when I went to ride this roller coaster a few months after it opened, I was absolutely blown away by it. It's got one of the best layouts I've ever seen for a roller coaster. 3 launches, 4 inversions. It's got some fantastic airtime, hang time, and it's intense as well. There is no dead spots on this roller coaster. So you start off with the first launch, which isn't too intense. However, you go into that first inversion with some amazing hang time. Second launch, which is really intense, into a 180-degree vertical twist going upwards, and then you go down a beyond vertical drop into an S-bend, and then you've got a couple of really whippy inversions on there, some absolutely crazy ejector airtime moments as well. And then you've got a third launch on there which is quite punchy, and then you have what is the best hang time I've ever experienced on a roller coaster. You go into what they call the anticipation roll, where you're just hanging there for about 2 or 3 seconds, which is absolutely amazing. It goes through there so slow, you're just dangling there for what feels like ages with only a lap bar. It's silky smooth. It's an absolutely spectacular roller coaster. I was absolutely blown away by it when I went to ride it for the first time. I was expecting high things from it, but I wasn't expecting it to be that good. It's an amazing ride, and I can't wait to get out there again and ride it at some point. Coming in at number 6, we have Untamed at Walibi Holland, an RMC hybrid coaster that opened in 2019. So this was a conversion of a former Vekoma wooden coaster that opened in 2000 called Robin Hood. However, for 2019, they RMC'd this coaster. They took all of the old track out, replaced it with a steel track, and of course it's got the wooden support structure. And this coaster is absolutely incredible. It was the second RMC roller coaster to open in Europe, and it has got some fantastic elements. It's a good long ride. It's got 5 different inversions on there, but to be honest, it's not all about the inversions. It's about the airtime, because you get so much airtime on this ride. Going over that first drop, absolutely amazing. Then of course you've got a 2-in-1 inversion just after that, which is really unique. You've got some amazing double ups and double downs on here, some really strong ejector airtime. Every single airtime moment you are absolutely thrown out of your seat. Of course you then go into some other really unique elements like some wave turns, some other really unique inversions. I really like the inversion at the end as well. That's my favourite inversion, the Heartline roll. You go through that with a really nice speed. You've got just a lap bar on there as well. It takes it quite slowly, so you get some decent hang time there, but it's like the perfect speed. It's not too slow, but you also get some nice hang time. And then after that inversion, there's a couple of airtime hills leading up to the brake run as well, where you get absolutely thrown out of your seat. It is a wild roller coaster. It was a big bucket list roller coaster ever since it was first announced. I was so excited to ride it. I went to ride it in 2020 and I was absolutely blown away by it. It was incredible. I absolutely loved it to bits. I wish I got to ride it a few more times because I only rode it twice. However, I'd love to go back out there to Walibi Holland at some point and ride Untamed again. Maybe 2025, seeing as they're opening their RMC Raptors this year as well. So this will be a good opportunity to go and get back on Untamed. Coming in at number 4, we have Jurassic World Velocicoaster, an Intamin multi-launch coaster at Universal Islands of Adventure that opened in 2021. And this roller coaster is the full package, because not only have you got one of the best layouts for a roller coaster in the world right here, you've also got the theming. Of course, the first half of the ride, you're going through all these different elements inside of the Velociraptor's paddock, which is absolutely amazing. The rock work and landscaping around there is incredible, and I love how the roller coaster interacts with it. It's like you go through that first launch through the rock work into an inversion, which goes over the top of the rock work, and then you dive back into another set of rock work and into another inversion. There's some great airtime hills and S-bends throughout this section. Just going around there through the paddock, interacting with all the theming, with the onboard audio as well. Just the lap bar on there as well, which is really comfortable. The onboard audio really does add so much to this roller coaster, but the layout is so much fun. And then of course you get to the second launch, where it propels you forwards into a really intense second launch, up into a big top hat, where then you drop down this massive drop into a 0G stall, where it absolutely flies through that. You get some amazing hang time on there, but it goes through there so fast as well. It's a similar element to on Gotham City Escape, however that one, it takes a lot slower. This one, you absolutely speed through it, whilst also getting the amazing airtime as well. The pacing of this roller coaster is incredible. There's some great airtime on this moment. The second half is definitely more intense than the first half, however, it's still incredible. The whole ride, there is no dead spots. It is incredible. You'll just be going around smiling the whole time. And then of course you get to the final inversion as well, which is the best inversion I've ever experienced on a roller coaster. You get absolutely whipped sideways. It's a heartline roll over the water. You feel like you're going to come flying out into the water. It's an amazing sensation. Some amazing airtime on here. A couple more airtime pops before going into the brake run. It's a long ride. It's well themed. The onboard audio is comfortable. It's a roller coaster that I could just keep riding all day, multiple times, over and over and over again. It's an incredible ride, and I can't wait to get back on it at some point. Coming in at number 4, we have Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa Bay, an RMC hybrid coaster that opened in 2022. This is the tallest and steepest hybrid roller coaster, which shares the tallest record with another one. 206 feet tall, 76 miles per hour, and also a 91-degree first drop. And this first drop is absolutely incredible. You get some amazing airtime, especially on the back row. It's a long ride. It's got some very unique elements, some amazing wave turns, some amazing airtime moments. You are absolutely thrown out of your seat on each and every airtime hill. It's action-packed. It's very, very intense. There are no dull moments on this ride. This whole ride, you'll just not really know what to feel. And you get into the brake run, and it's got so much speed going into the brake run as well. The pacing is amazing. It never gives up its speed. It is relentless from start to finish. You get into the brake run and just like, what the hell have I just experienced? There's 2 inversions on here that are absolutely fantastic. The Death Roll is my favourite inversion on here. Absolutely incredible, where of course you go down a barrel roll down drop with some amazing whip to it. It's a long ride, it's unique, it's got some amazing elements on there. Absolutely incredible. This whole ride, you're just going around thinking, this is absolutely insane. It's one of the best roller coasters that I've ever ridden. Absolutely spectacular. Some of RMC's best work, in my opinion, is Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa. An incredible ride. That, again, I wish I got to ride this more because I only rode it twice. But hopefully I will get back on it at some point soon. Coming in at number 3, we have Zadra at Energylandia, an RMC hybrid coaster that opened in 2019. And this roller coaster is absolutely stunning. I got to ride it for the first time in 2024. It literally opened a couple months after I visited for the first time. Originally it was supposed to open in 2020, but then the opening got pushed forward to 2019, so it opened earlier than expected. If I knew that was going to happen, I would have waited to go a couple months and got on it when Zadra had opened. But unfortunately at the time, we didn't know that it was going to be pushed back, but I did get to ride it last year. I got quite a few rides on it as well. I think I rode it 6 times, and it's an absolutely incredible roller coaster from start to finish. It doesn't have the length that Iron Gwazi has, however, it still is a long ride. It's got some great elements on there, and this whole ride is relentless from start to finish. It carries its speed so well. I have multiple rides towards the front, towards the back, and definitely towards the back is my favourite. It's got some crazy ejector airtime on this ride, some great inversions as well. I love the 0G stall on there, that was really good. I also love the big airtime hill around the midpoint of the ride, but the thing that really this ride is about is the speed, because it absolutely flies through its layout. Even that final inversion into the brake run, you absolutely whip through it with so much speed going into the brake run. It's an absolutely incredible ride. It is relentless from start to finish. This is another one of those coasters where you get into the brake run and just like, oh my god, what just happened? It's like, it takes a few rides just to be able to process what's actually just happened. It's absolutely incredible. The one downside with this ride for me are the restraints. Being quite tall, I do find them quite uncomfortable. That does take away from the re-rideability of this ride. Like literally the day after I rode this roller coaster, I had bruises from the restraints, from how much I was just being thrown up into that restraint from the airtime. It's incredible. However, yeah, the restraints could definitely be better, and this would be my favourite roller coaster in Europe if it wasn't for those restraints. I did think it was going to be my favourite ride in Europe when I first came off it, but then I thought, you know what, a roller coaster to be my favourite in Europe, I want it to be one that I can just keep going round and round and round on with no discomfort. This might be an incredible ride, but it's not the most comfortable. However, it is absolutely worth it for that incredible airtime. Coming in at number 2, we have Shambhala at Portaventura, a B&M hypercoaster that opened in 2012. This is my favourite roller coaster in Europe, and this is a very special roller coaster to me. This was the roller coaster that turned me into the person I am today. This is the roller coaster that made me fall in love with roller coasters and theme parks. Of course, up until this moment, I was pretty scared of them. I wouldn't go on very many. I'd only go on kind of smaller ones. I mean, I went on Stampeder that same trip, and I was willing to go on that. That was a big ride for me to go on at the time. And then, of course, I went on Shambhala. I was very hesitant about it, but I went on it. I absolutely loved it. Of course, you've just got the clamshell restraint on there, just the lap bar, which is really comfortable. The same restraints as on Mako. This is the same ride type as Mako. However, I do prefer this one. I think this one's got the better layout and also some better airtime. So with this one, it was once the tallest roller coaster in Europe. When I first rode it, it did hold that record. So of course you start off by going up that lift hill where you get some absolutely spectacular views. You can look to your left and see the Spanish countryside, look to your right and see the rest of the park, and then of course you go down that absolutely fantastic first drop. Towards the front, you dangle over this first drop, and then you gradually get lifted up out of your seat as you go down with that floater airtime. At the back, you get absolutely whipped over it with some amazing ejector airtime. You've got lots of different airtime hills on this ride, a fantastic turnaround section, some good near-miss elements with some of the other track and supports during the ride. My favourite part of this ride is the speed hill just after the turnaround. You get some amazing ejector airtime there. It's a very low to the ground airtime hill, but the airtime, you get absolutely thrown out of your seat. Of course, you've got the splashdown on there as well after one of the airtime hills. It's such a fantastic ride. This roller coaster, you can just keep going round and round and round over and over again. And that's exactly what I did when I was at Portaventura a couple of years ago. In 2023, during my second day, I was there for probably about 4 or 5 hours. The whole day, I was just going round and round and round on Shambhala. Absolutely loving life. It's a brilliant ride. It's long, it's thrilling, but it's not too intense as well. Anyone can go on this and really enjoy it. I went on this when I was 8. Didn't like roller coasters, but I absolutely loved it, and it completely changed who I was. It made me fall in love with roller coasters, and without this roller coaster, I don't know what kind of person I'd be today. I don't know what I'd be doing with my spare time, because pretty much all my spare time goes to theme parks and roller coasters, and without this ride, I don't know what my spare time would have gone towards. But it's an incredible ride. I've been on it so many times over the years. One of my most ridden coasters. I'm probably looking at about 50 rides on it at this point. I've ridden it loads of times, especially over the last few years, and I got loads of rides on it in 2015 and 2014 as well when I was there. It's an incredible ride, and I can't wait to get back on it at some point. Here we go then, my number 1 coaster, my favourite roller coaster in the world, and it is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, an RMC hybrid coaster that opened in 2018. I went to ride this ride a couple of months after it opened, and I don't even really know, like, I could talk about this thing for ages. I don't really know how to just stop myself from talking about it and to keep just rambling on about it for ages. This coaster has everything you could want from a coaster. Some of the most airtime you can experience on a roller coaster. In fact, when it opened, it did have the record for the most airtime on any roller coaster. I think it still has that record, but I'm not 100% sure. But this coaster is absolutely insane. It is so long. There is no dead spots. It's absolutely spectacular. You start off by going up a 205-foot lift hill, down the amazing 90-degree drop. You've got some amazing elements on here, some really unique elements as well. The wave turn on here is fantastic, like the outward bank turn. That was a world's first of its kind element when this ride first opened, and it's incredible. The airtime on it is so strong. You get a great mix of ejector and floater airtime on this ride. Some of them you get gradually lifted up out of your seat with that really nice sensation, and then some of the airtime hills you get absolutely thrown out of your seat, just like, oh my god, what was that? It's so long as well. The fact that a coaster can keep its pacing for this long throughout a coaster and not lose its speed. It is relentless from start to finish. So much airtime, 4 fantastic inversions on here, some really unique elements. It just keeps going and going and going, and throughout the whole ride it never lets up, it never loses its speed. It's not like you're crawling into the brake run. You've got so much speed going to the brake run. It is just airtime, 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 and it is absolutely incredible, and that is why it is my #1 roller coaster. So there we go, there are my top 10 roller coasters. Let me know what you think about my list. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What are your favourite roller coasters? Let me know, I'd be really interested to hear. Of course, us theme park enthusiasts, we all like different things. We all like different coasters for different reasons. Some coasters, like some people might love and other people might hate. So let me know what you guys think. It's really interesting seeing what other people think and being able to compare opinions and seeing what other people like compared to you, and just see what differences we have as like people and theme park enthusiasts and what we like to see in different rides. But that's now the end of this video here. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at George Kelly and follow me on Twitter at George Kelly. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe everyone, and I will see you all later. Bye.